Hello fellow aquarists, this is Chung from the Water Box and welcome to another review. Today we'll be looking at the Sunsun 602 and the 603 canister filter. If you're looking for an affordable canister filter for tanks 20 gallons or smaller, then this canister filter just might fit your bill. First off, this video reviews the 602 and the 603 models as well as the 602B and the 603B models as well. So let's go over the differences really quick. The difference between the 602 and the 603 is the size of the canister itself. On the left here is the 602 model and on the right is the 603. I would say the 602 is great for anything 10 gallons or under, and the 603 is for tanks between 10 gallons to 20 gallons. However, the price difference between the two are a couple bucks, so it might be just beneficial to stick with the 603 unless you're putting it on something that's 10 gallons or less. The second difference is the model with the letter B postfixed after the model number. This means the filter is sold as intended as a pre-filter. This will only include the canister, sponge media, and the two connectors for the intake and outtakes with built-in stop valves. This is normally used as a pre-filter that you would connect on the main filter for extra bio, mechanical, or chemical filtration. The models with the letter B postfixed in the model number includes the canister, sponge media, pump, one connector with a built-in stop valve, hoses, an intake fitting, and a spray bar or spout outtake fitting. This is meant to be ran as a standalone filter for your aquarium. Let's take a look at the box it comes in. In the front, it displays a picture of the filter as well as the model number that you are purchasing. On one side of the box, you have the instructions for putting together and using the filter. As with all made in China products, this has a lot left to be desired. On the other side of the box, it displays all the parts that comes with the unit. That's pretty straightforward. Let's take a look at what's inside the box. So this is all what's in the box, laid out all pretty for your viewing pleasure. First we have the canister filter itself. The included media sponges are in the canister. Attached to it is a 110 GPH water pump. For a canister filter, you want about 6 times the flow rate per hour based on the gallons of your tank. This might be a little too weak for a 20 gallon. But for 15 gallons or smaller, it'll work just fine. The pump screws off fairly easy for maintenance, but does make a watertight seal. It comes with a poorly written instruction manual. This is the connector for the intake with a stop valve which you can use as a flow control as well. The intake comes in 4 or 5 pieces and is pretty easy to put together. One piece is an extension to make the intake longer for taller tanks. The outtake is 4 or 5 pieces and it comes with an option for a spray bar or an adjustable spout. Again, pretty easy to put together, but be careful as the plastic is pretty cheap and brittle, so don't manhandle these pipes. And finally, it comes with 2 hoses for the intake and outtake. Let's open up the canister and look what's inside. Again, the make of this filter is pretty cheap and brittle, so be very careful when handling this unit. At the top you have a plastic spacer. With it comes with 4 types of sponges: coarse, medium, fine, and a mesh pad. At the bottom is another spacer that keeps the media from clogging up the outtake pipe. For most of my filters, I use lava rocks placed inside of a mesh bag as my biomedia, and I use the sponges as my mechanical media. I don't use any chemical filtration in my filter unless on certain occasions. For this filter, the water flows from the top to the bottom. So what I would do is put the spacer on the bottom, followed by my biomedia, then the mesh filter, and then the coarse sponge on top, followed by the top spacer. And it's that simple. Now if you were to use chemical filtration, I would put that at the bottom of the filter on top of the bottom spacer, and then the mesh pad, the biomedia, and then finish it with a coarse sponge, closing the whole thing off with the top spacer. Setting it up on your aquarium is fairly simple as well. For the intake, you connect the hose to the intake pipe and the hose to the connector. For both the intake pipe and the connector, make sure the plastic nut is screwed all the way far as back as it goes. Slide in the hose, then turn the nut against the hose until it's tight. I soak the hose in really hot water just to soften and straighten up the hoses. This makes it much more easier to handle and connect to the pipes. For the outtake, you do the same thing. The only difference is instead of connecting it to a connector, you connect the other end of the hose through the water pump. The water pump has the same kind of hose connection as the other parts of this filter. Now you have 2 options for the outtake. You can use the spray bar or the adjustable spout. It is completely up to you which one you wish to use. The other thing to note is that although the outtake fit fine on my rimmed 10-gallon tank, I just saw a little notch of it on the rim of my 20-gallon tank. I believe they made this filter so it fits rimless tanks. Once you have the filter set up, fill the canister up with water, preferably the water from your tank. Then close it up. Priming the filter is fairly easy. I siphon the water into the intake hose and quickly turn the stop valve, cutting off the water flow. Then I connect the hose to the filter. Once in place, I open the stop valve and the water should start siphoning into the filter itself. Then plug it in and you're good to go. Now let's go over the pros and cons really quick. Pros: it's cheap. For a canister filter, what comes with everything you need other than the bio and chemical filtration, it's a great price range for smaller tanks. On Amazon and eBay, the 603B goes for around $25. Another pro is that it works great for tanks under 15 gallons or less. We'll talk about what I did with it for a 20-gallon tank later. Pro: it's a canister filter, so it has much more room for filter media than an in-tank or hang on the back filter. Now for the cons. This is really cheaply made. The plastic is very brittle and it feels very toy-like. Con: reading the reviews on Amazon, the seal has broken for a few people. Now this is within months or a couple of years, but it does happen on canister filters. Does it happen more on the Sunsun filters? I don't know. I don't have the data to make an informed decision on this one. Con: the water pump is pretty weak for a 20-gallon tank. I ended up getting another pump for it. For example, in this case for this tank, I have a Cobalt EXT inline pump that runs 210 GPH. On another tank I put an EcoPlus 264 water pump on it that runs 290 GPH. Both works great on this filter for a 20-gallon tank. And that's it for this review on the Sunsun 602 and 603 canister filters. I currently have 4 of these models running on 4 tanks for a few months now, and they have been working just fine. If you have any questions about this filter or any comments about your experiences with this filter, please leave them in the comment section down below. And thank you for joining me on this review. Hit that like button if this video helped you out in any way, and if you want more aqua goodness and you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. Again, thanks for watching and have fun with your aquariums. I will talk at you later.